It has somehow already been 2 months since the iPhone 17 Pro released, and as soon as it came out, I bought one with my own money, so I'd love to share my in-depth review with you guys after using this for a couple months, from everything to the cameras down to the USB hole. I'm Zach Mayfield, thanks for being here. Now, let's get into it. First of all, some context. What is Apple claiming about the 17 Pro? We know they come out with a new phone every freaking year. What makes this one different? The 17 Pro is their redesign of the Pro lineup, and it's boasting the best battery life, the beefiest performance with the new A19 Pro chip, best build quality, and best camera performance in any iPhone ever. They literally called it
the most cinematic camera we've ever made.
So that's what they claim, and that's what I've been testing for the last 2 months to see, is it actually gonna live up to what they've been telling us in their fancy pants marketing videos, which do look incredible, by the way, freaking insane. So let's start with design and build quality. I came from the 14 Pro all the way to the 17 Pro, and that 3-generation jump just feels so good. If you can wait and hold out, dude, I got so much of an upgrade out of this one, and Verizon basically paid for it for me. One thing I will say is I thought the 14 Pro was absolutely beautiful. It had that kind of matte glass back and the titanium edges that were beautiful. Obviously with the 17 Pro, they have ditched the titanium thing that they were claiming was gonna be the future, and now we have a full aluminum unibody design. But it does have this little glass patch on the back of the phone, which is for wireless charging and stuff. And specifically with the Cosmic Orange, which I know a ton of people have gone with, I feel like that little glass patch is kind of butt ugly. Am I the only one that thinks that? I love the orange aluminum parts, but that glass just looks funky to me. I am rocking the Master Chief case, but let me take that off for a second. I really am enjoying the feel of this phone overall. It's a perfect size for me. I wouldn't want to go with the Pro Max, but the Pro Max users do be eating good this year. We'll talk about that too. I'm not as worried about dropping this phone compared to the 14 Pro, which had an entirely vulnerable glass back. Same with the 15 and 16 Pro. This one I feel more comfortable with, but it is pretty easily scratchable. Scratchgate is real, as we've all seen with this release. So I have invested in a couple cases to protect it. And I've only dropped this phone one time, but it did give me some considerable chunks out of the body, and that's kind of a bummer, honestly, but it does look nice. So to negate those scratches, like I said, I've invested in the Master Chief case, which I think is really pretty somehow with the orange and green combo. And then this crazy video filmmaking setup that I will talk about later when we get into the cameras. Also, links to everything I'm talking about below, and none of it is sponsored. Now, another thing I've noticed coming from an older generation of Pro phones to the new one is some fancy new buttons on the camera. It's not a camera, it's a phone. We have the action button here, which can be set to a variety of preset options, or you can just create a shortcut to open literally any app you want. On my phone, it opens up the Blackmagic camera app. Then you also have the camera button, which a lot of people were mixed on when it initially came out with the 16 Pro, but overall, I actually really like it. Anytime I get the option for a tactile experience versus a digital, I will take that. And right now I have the camera button mapped to the Leica Lux camera app. We'll get into that later too. But with the camera button specifically, you can't map it to anything you want. It has to have some sort of camera function, which I kind of understand. It's a camera button, but it would be kind of cool if they just gave us full customizability. Let me open anything I want with it. Let me cook, Papa, let me cook. But overall, I enjoy the new design. I think it's unique, it's fun, it's bold, it's less stale than previous generations where it was just kind of like dark colors, basic looking phone. But now let's move on to the thing that will be melting our brains for the next year, the XDR Super Retina display. I love how Apple just has the most insane names for everything they make, but it's like a 2.6K resolution screen. But there are some really cool features that the screen does have, like 120 Hertz Pro Motion for super smooth animations and navigation. It's OLED, HDR, and it's up to 3000 nits of brightness. Like, to buy a 3000 nit monitor for like a camera or whatever is extremely expensive. So the fact that they crammed all of that into this little display is pretty impressive. And as always, Apple's claiming it's better scratch resistant, better crack and break resistant. I don't know, I feel like my butt crack still comes out of my pants when it's in my back pocket, so not sure what they're talking about there, but it does seem to be pretty durable, but I have still put a screen protector on it. This time around, I'm going for a matte finish, which I've been really enjoying, and the one I found doesn't really cut too much sharpness out of it, and just everything looks sexier, as if I need another reason to stare at my phone all day. but it does reduce flare. It feels really good on the finger as well. And it just looks awesome. So if you want to check that out, I've been enjoying mine quite a bit. Now let's move on to performance. We got the new A19 Pro chips. I'm not gonna go spec heavy on you guys. There's plenty of geek benchers out there. That's not how I roll here. I did test this thing out with playing some video games. I actually connected my PS5 controller to my phone and played some COD Mobile, and I was absolutely shredding 8-year-olds on there. Got a couple likes at the end of the game, feeling pretty good. But this phone absolutely obliterates anything you throw at it for the most part. I'm not doing any crazy gaming or 3D rendering. I don't edit video on this, although you absolutely could because this chip is so powerful. So if you don't have a computer or anything, you could do a lot with this. And with these Pro phones, people are doing more taxing stuff, whether it's photo editing, which this phone absolutely slams through. It edits raw photos like a dream. The cameras are super responsive and fast, even in the high frame rates like 4K 120, you don't really notice any lag. So by far, this phone's performance is better than I've ever experienced from an iPhone. And usually you would think that would really destroy your battery life, but they have somehow made the battery so freaking good in this phone. And that's why earlier I was saying Pro Max users are eating good this year, because I have the regular Pro, and there's times where at the end of the day, I don't even put my phone on the charger. I'm not on my phone all day long like I know a lot of people are. There's days where I'll charge it the next day a little bit while I'm in the shower or something, because it really is that good. And also, coming from a 14, which was Lightning port to USB-C, I know that like throughout the day, I have USB-C plugs everywhere if I need to get some extra apple juice. So I'm really not worried about it. Now let's dive into cameras, which is the most exciting part of this phone for me and one of the main reasons I got it. I'm a full-time creator. I do tons of video and photo stuff every single day. So I use my phone a lot for extra footage in my videos and projects, and I wanted one that could finally shoot in Apple Log. First of all, let's talk about the native iPhone camera app. I barely use it at all when I'm going for more professional style shooting. Here's why. In the native app, when you're shooting video and you wanna get log, the file sizes that app spits out are absolutely massive, and it will take up so much of your hard drive space. So I've completely abandoned that, and for video, I use the Blackmagic camera app, which you can still get extremely big file sizes from by shooting in ProRes RAW, which requires an SSD to even access the raw footage, which is another reason I think getting a massive internal storage on this phone is kind of silly, especially if you're going for raw video. It really makes no sense. But in Blackmagic, you get so many more options than the native camera app. You can shoot in H.265, which is really compressed, but you can still shoot in log if you want to do that. You can shoot in ProRes LT, ProRes 422, ProRes HQ. So you can choose how much you want to get out of these cameras and how much storage you want to balance with that quality. It's really, really nice. And you can still shoot in RAW or Apple Log 2 or standard profiles and have your exposure set to automatic, just like the camera app, or you can fully control your exposure tools, which is what I do when I'm using it for work stuff. So I get every option plus more than the camera app and better storage options. So I don't need the camera app for video. And if you want to do full manual control in video, that's why I have this funky little setup here. So let me just pop my phone in. This is a case made by SmallRig. It's not sponsored. First of all, it's just kind of a cool looking case. MagSafe still works with it, obviously. And then you have this little mount right here on the edge of the camera. You can mount this little accessory to the camera plateau. And then this ND filter, so you can see it makes the image darker, covers via a magnet all of your cameras. And then you can dial in your exposure so you can still shoot in like 24 frames per second with beautiful movie-like motion blur and get your brightness down using this, which is awesome. And then I've also found that if you get one of these Apple SD card readers to USB-C, plug it into your phone, and then just a little Velcro right here, you can put an SD card in here and record in ProRes RAW without needing a big clunky SSD. I know there's other options out there that are pretty compact, but I had this laying around. I had some Velcro, and this is my setup, baby. Okay, what about photography? So in the native camera app, you can shoot in JPEG and use Apple's kind of like built-in color looks, which are fine. I don't really care for them that much, but if you just want something easy, I totally get it. You can also shoot in RAW and get the full quality out of these cameras without Apple's post-processing, which can look pretty gross sometimes. And that's a pretty great option if you do want to edit your photos. The raw photos from the 17 Pro are incredible. Make sure to set your file type to lossy. You still get the full 48 megapixels from all 3 cameras, but it's a more compressed, smaller file size. The quality looks the same. It looks really, really nice, but you get smaller file sizes, so you're gonna take advantage of your internal system storage. But to be honest with you, I don't really use the native camera app for photos either. Like I said earlier, I have my camera button mapped to an app called Leica Lux. Now you can pay the full premium $70 per year to get incredible presets that turn your phone essentially into a professional looking camera. You could easily make people believe your iPhone photos are coming from a $3, $4, $5, $6,000 camera with this app, no problem. But if you don't want to spend the 70 bucks, you still get access to some of their free presets and they look absolutely beautiful. So how I do it is I turn off RAW in Leica Lux. I just shoot in JPEG, which means when I'm taking a photo, that's exactly what it's gonna look like when it's done and I don't have to edit it. With RAW, you would have to put it in an external app like Lightroom to make it look however you want and then export it, airdrop it, all that stuff, which you can do if you want, but I just want quick JPEGs to document my family, life, adventures, stuff like that. And in these free Leica Lux profiles, you can add grain, you can customize them just a little bit and get absolutely beautiful looking images with natural, just gorgeous colors that make life look a little bit more pleasing to the eye versus the native camera apps photos, which look like phone photos, if that makes sense. Overall, the 17 Pro just feels like something I love having with me. I've also experimented with Android phones too. Like I have a work phone that's a Pixel 9 and I actually really like this Pixel 9 as well, but there's just processing limitations with that. Obviously this is like a base model and it's a couple years older, so it's not an apples to apples comparison. But the 17 Pro is easily the best phone I've ever had. I absolutely love it, especially for creative stuff, and it doesn't slow me down, which I really like. I'm still pretty annoyed with the whole Apple Intelligence thing. I feel like it's just a scam. Like, I get so many more cool intelligent features out of my older Pixel, like the Pixel Studio, which generates hilarious memes in like 1 second. But more than that, Gemini is so much better than Siri and so much more usable. It can access things throughout the phone, whereas Siri just feels so limited and non-responsive most of the times. I'm really waiting for them to increase that level of AI usability that just helps me function the device better. But other than that, I still really like the 17 Pro. If you have a 15 or 16 Pro, I don't really think it's worth upgrading to the 17 Pro unless you're like specifically wanting the best camera stuff possible. But even then, they're still really close to the 15 and 16 Pro. But if you're coming from something older, like a 12, 13, 14, you're gonna be so stoked on the jump. The 3-generation jump, I swear by it. It is so much more enjoyable. If you want, you can support me on Patreon. Also, thank you so much for 4,000 subscribers. That's pretty freaking awesome. You can check out my other channels if you'd like to. And yeah, I just really appreciate you guys being here on this new channel journey. It's fun having like a startup channel again, and I can just fart on camera. Okay, I think that was poop. So I'm gonna go handle that. But I love you guys, okay?